Let's do it, okay. Alright there, you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the Crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes, you the person who has a shin splint. Now, I know that pretty much every single week I start this off by complaining about a different malady or ache and pain. I'm getting older, I understand that. But if there are any actual physiotherapists or sporty persona out there who can give me some advice on a decent cardio workout that doesn't involve running, I'd be very appreciative, because running 5k a day for the last month and a half has started to yield some negative consequences. I've lost nearly a stone, but this is not worth it at this point in time. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week. And this week we have none other than the Red Rocket Rover for their amazing suggestion of beautiful areas that are absolutely deadly. Now, one of the many great things about video games is their ability to transport players to a gorgeous world that doesn't, and perhaps can't, actually exist in real life. And with games looking as good as they do these days, it's easier than ever to get drawn into richly immersive worlds that feel truly alive. And in some cases, you wish they weren't, because while they may look absolutely stunning, they are going to shock you with how much death is awaiting around the corner. Sick! So let's have a chat about them, as I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 amazingly beautiful video game locations that are utterly deadly. Number 8, Ash Lake, Dark Souls. Now, Ash Lake is one of the most atmospheric and visually impressive areas in any Soulsborne game to date, though you will definitely need to work for it by traipsing through the Great Hollow in order to get there. But those that bother to do so will be rewarded with a seemingly endless expanse of water and staggeringly huge arch trees, evoking an almost overwhelming sense of scale, which is abetted by the goosebump-inducing choral music. It's kind of haunting and awe-inspiring at the same time, but that S-tier level design and atmosphere eventually gives way to probably the most memorable part of Ash Lake, which is the damn horrible Black Hydra. It goes without saying that this many-headed serpent will make short work of unprepared players, but honestly, if you're committed enough to reach Ash Lake in the first place, you really should have some idea of what you're doing. It was apparently too much to ask for Ash Lake just to be a nice meditation spot for dedicated players to enjoy. It just had to contain a vicious monster that can turn you to red slime in record time. Thanks. Number 7, the Heartlands, Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, it's fair to say that basically everywhere in Red Dead Redemption 2 is tear-inducingly beautiful, and that certainly includes the Heartlands, a lush expanse of greenery and wildlife best defined by rolling hills, vast plains, and the bustling livestock town of Valentine. But despite the Heartlands being one of the game's calmer areas, there is a hidden danger lying in wait, and that takes the form of a serial killer who happens to be operating in this area. One of the game's stranger missions tasks the player with tracking down a number of the killer's victims in order to piece together his locations, which will ultimately lead them to a sublimely horrifying hideout southwest of Valentine. At this point, Arthur is attacked from behind by the killer, a man by the name of Edmund Lowry Jr., leaving the player to fight to escape his lair, after which they hogtie him and then take him to the local sheriff's office. But it's actually still not over, even in the safe confines of the office, as he actually makes one last-ditch attempt to escape, forcing you to put him down permanently. For anyone hankering just for a calm stroll through the Heartlands, capturing and then killing a serial murderer probably wasn't on their to-do list, right? I mean, you're probably just there like, oh, dude, you're a freak. What are you doing, man? Going around killing people. Now, excuse me while I rip the skin off of this rabbit in gruesome detail over and over again just because I hear that I can make myself a fancy new hat. Yeah, you're weird. Number 6, House Beneviento, Resident Evil Village. Now, nobody does an opulent but horrifying mansion quite like Resident Evil, and Resident Evil Village serves up an Airbnb's worst nightmare with the decadent and terror-filled House Beneviento. Now, this mansion is a real looker, alright, from its jaw-dropping cliffside placement to the immaculate interior design and rather invitingly dim lighting. There is no big lights going on here, it is party time all the time. But of course, this being Resident Evil and all, we're under no illusions that there is anything good waiting inside. It's like as soon as you open the door, you're like, wow, this is amazing. I can't wait for a death trap to spring out from the floor, or a billion zombies to just be waiting in this room, or better yet, a nemesis-like creature to just smash through the walls and then just go, you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, over and over until he's bludgeoned my head into the floor. Here I go! And indeed, this area is probably one of the scariest segments of the entire game, as players soon have their weapons taken away from them and then find themselves facing off against a giant fetus monster, there it is, which is distilled from pure nightmare fuel itself. But that's not all, because you'll then have to play a horrifying game of hide and seek with Donna, you know, the doll-possessed creature thing that's there. Fantastic! It's fitting that one of the most aesthetically pleasing areas in the entire game also happens to contain its most shudder-inducing horrors. Number 5, Gaia Alata, The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Now, it's incredibly easy to be lured in by Oblivion's Gaia Alata, given that it's also called Paradise, and on the initial glimpse, it certainly does live up to that moniker. It is bellissimo. You make this face. Mankar Cameron's realm is a superficial beauty, alright, defined by endless trees, peaceful bodies of water, ornate ruins, and thoroughly Instagrammable sunsets, but it's ultimately all a sham, because Mankar convinced the members of his cult, the Order of the Mythic Dawn, that dying in his service will send them to an idyllic paradise. But paradise really has more in common with hell beneath the surface, because his followers will be attacked by the pesky Daedra and upon dying will be resurrected to be further tortured. Oh yes, and there's also the Forbidden Grotto, a cave filled with lava and cages which can be lowered down into the drink. So yeah, you kind of get the idea of what happens here. No, it's not cookouts and barbecue. Well, it is kind of, but it's a different type of hog roast, you know what I'm saying? It's a damn shame that this area had to be the sandbox of a maniacal cult leader, because you know what? It does sure look pretty up top. You know what I'm saying? Number 4, Blood Kelp Zone, Subnautica. Is there a single game as paradoxically beautiful and terrifying as Subnautica? Well, effectively, Thalassophobia the game, that's the fear of deep bodies of water, Subnautica allows players to explore its vast underwater biomes whilst showing them all of the sights that are enchanting in some ways and pants-soilingly scary in others. So picking just one area is no easy feat, but the Blood Kelp Zone might just fit the bill the best. Not unlike Dark Souls' Ash Lake, there's a haunting beauty to its sparseness, punctuated by alluring plant life such as blood roots, which are growing plants that have blood oil pustules growing on them. That was me eating it. Because this is the thing, the bioluminescent glow, I mean, it's very cool looking. You're just like, sick, I'll cover my entire house with these. But the blood sacks, call me a stickler, but I could do without them. But for those who venture into the northern area of the Blood Kelp Zone, you will find much, much worse. Aggressive crab squids and, worst of all, the Ghost Leviathan, one of the biggest and most powerful creatures in the entire game. So yeah, suddenly those sacks are looking way more appetizing, right? You get used to them after a while. Lovely. All the same though, the Blood Kelp Zone offers eerie tranquility for those who are brave enough to actually stay and explore within it. Number 3, Snacktooth Island, Bugsnax. Nothing quite tops Bugsnax in its central setting, Snacktooth Island. The game's marketing quite ingeniously sold it as a frankly adorable adventure game in which you're tasked with exploring the island and capturing the titular Bugsnax, insect-like creatures who resemble food. Yet, as vibrant and as colourful as Snacktooth Island appears to be, the finale of the game reveals that it's actually being laying host to an underbelly of skin-crawling body horror that threatens your very existence. After finally discovering the lost explorer Lisbeth, who is now a giant mutated creature made of Bugsnax, it's revealed that the Bugsnax are actually mind-altering parasites which transform anyone who eats enough of them into Bugsnax themselves. Oh god, I've turned the page from adorable children's novel into Goosebumps that then also had pictures of a murder scene inside that. Shout out to the Goosebumps fans. I was talking about this the other day. How did we as teenagers get scared by some of these concepts? Oh, there's a sponge underneath the sink that apparently has vampiric teeth. Get to fuck off. Fuck off, mate. I'm going to put you down the blender. I'll put you in a blender. Anyway, back on track. And because that's not disturbing enough, the very end of the game sees the inhabitants of the island desperately fleeing from the Bugsnax, which are now running riot and attacking everyone in sight. That is a far cry from what the game sold itself as. That is for damn sure. But still, very pretty to look at. Number 2, Arcadia, Bioshock. Even accepting that Bioshock's underwater city of Rapture is a failed utopia, it's still an utterly mesmerising locale to drink in, and it's best distinguished by its stunning Art Deco architecture. Yet amongst the more gorgeous areas within Rapture is Arcadia, a serene park getaway adorned with trees, plant life and flowing water, allowing visitors to get away from the chaos of Rapture's busiest areas. Well, in theory, anyway. Because though Arcadia is relatively intact compared to the rest of Rapture, its relaxing facade soon enough crumbles away as it's where the game introduces a terrifying new type of splicer, the Houdini splicer. Now, Houdini splicers can not only use offensive plasmids against you, but they can also evaporate into thin air, and they do so in a really horrible way. It's like a sucking noise, that's and they pop back into reality and you can see like trails of blood behind them when they go. It looks painful to do this. And it really does create this atmosphere where you're like, oh, lovely trees and arboretum, fantastic. I love what you're doing with those chrysanthemums. Wait a minute, what's this flinging its way towards me? It's a bolt of lightning. Ah, bollocks. Of course, this wondrous hideaway couldn't just provide players with some soothing respite from all the chaos around them. No, they had to introduce one of the most terrifying enemies in the entire game. Thank you for that. Cheers for that. And finally, the Black Garden, Destiny. And finally, we have Destiny's Black Garden, a bizarre realm situated outside of space and time, which in the first game players ventured to in order to rip its heart out. Did I read that wrong? Is that actually? Yeah, that is actually what happened. The Black Garden is a mouth-watering location to behold, though, defined by its seemingly never-ending array of colourful flora and fauna, lush waterfalls, and entrancing statues. But lovely though as it is to simply sit in a field of flowers and enjoy the moment, you probably shouldn't stick around in the Black Garden for too long, given the utterly WTF lore surrounding the entire place. That is to say that prolonged exposure to its environment can be extremely hazardous. Some have actually spoken of a brain stain, whereby those who spend a long time in the garden end up with thousands of seeds growing into their skull, giving it the pitted texture of a strawberry. What? Why? Needless to say, this place will be pretty traumatic for anyone suffering from trypophobia. You probably shouldn't spend any more time here than is absolutely necessary. As pretty and inviting as it looks as a cursory glance. I mean, I would like to go there, but maybe just send a postcard. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 awesome-looking video game locations that were secretly deadly. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as your suggestion for next week's episode as well. If you want to follow me on the social medias, you can do so over here, and you can follow my lovely editor, Sai, over on her social medias over here as well. But before I go, my friends, I want to talk about something else that is absolutely stonkingly beautiful, and that's you, my friends, out there listening and watching this video, because at the end of the day, you're a massive ledge. You deserve the bloody best, and I know deep down you are a good person, so therefore you should be rewarded with kindness to yourself. Push that outwards to others, build bridges instead of burning them. Remember, above all else, you deserve all the good things in life, all right? Don't let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. I'm here to boost you up with that positivity shot. Not with a gun, not with a needle, just with words. It's too aggressive otherwise. Hope that you're doing well, hope you're smashing your life goals. Big love from me to you. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.